think as well, it's making me think a little bit about the sort of atheistic paradigm of, like, they might say, oh, I believe in God when I see God, or I believe in Jesus if I see Jesus, or something like this. Well, that's kind of basically what we're doing, isn't it? It's like we're not necessarily physically seeing. They want to see something physically in the actual physical world, probably. But then we're not necessarily seeing it, but we're actually feeling it, which is even deeper than just seeing something, because that's more of that's one expression of the universe. But energy is also what's underneath every expression. So when you actually feel it, then it's proof. It's proof to you that there is energy, or there is things. And I think it's a good way of describing it is with a camera. When you've got a shallow depth of field, which is basically when you focus on something and then the background's really blurry. That's the shallow depth of field, and that's basically what that's basically what our life is like now. Or like if you're not awake, you're always in shallow depth of field. But then if you change the aperture, everything starts to become in focus, and not just this one thing. It's like the whole thing becomes in focus, and that's what it feels like, I think.
Yeah, I like that analogy. That's a good one. And some of my deepest meditation experiences have been with my eyes open, and not necessarily, I have seen energy visually, but it isn't always a seeing, like you were saying. It's often more of a feeling. And this is something that I think both the atheists and the people that believe there's only one way to see religion, I feel like they're in that space that you're talking about with the too narrow of a focus. Because if we actually look, I've spent my life looking for truth, and I've looked at a lot of religions, and where I find the truth is where they intersect. And so the way that it's said that God is within you, that's where the people who are looking for God as something to see are missing the vision, because they're trying to look outside. And when we look inside is actually when we get to experience God or spirit, or just that expansive feeling that you're talking about. And you were reminding me of one particular experience that I had when I had recently learned an open-eyed meditation technique of looking at the spaces. And so I was sitting in meditation, and I was looking at the space between me and the window, and then I was looking out the window at the space between the tree and the house, and then I started looking at the little spaces between all of the needles of the trees. And then I had this sudden moment of realization where I said, it came through as the space in the tree is the same as the space in me. And then I had this sudden feeling of rushing inward and experiencing all the space in between the molecules and atoms of my being. And that, to me, is where the magic lies, is in those spaces and expanding the spaces. And that's just one way to express it. I had that thought came through as you were speaking. It reminded me your experience was very different and similar in the sense that we're experiencing these same intangible things that are so tangible when you actually experience them. And I think that's why we share our experiences, because not only does it maybe inspire someone else to try a technique and see what happens, and maybe try again if it doesn't work the first time, like for you, but it also helps people who are having experiences and don't understand why, to validate and realize that it's part of the human experience. It actually is part of our human experience to explore the inner landscape. And so giving people permission to explore is, I guess, what I'm trying to get at.